The South Carolina sky was as clear as stretched silk, lavender balloons drifting gently in the warm spring breeze. I walked slowly up the steps to Madison Rowe's house. My best friend for over 20 years, clutching a gift basket for her soon-to-be born daughter. I'd knitted that quilt for 3 months, each stitch a silent blessing. Madison and I used to share everything, from teenage angst to tear-soaked heartbreaks. I thought I knew her better than I knew myself. But that day something felt off. I sensed it the moment I stepped out of the car. Emily. Lucas, my calm and perceptive obstetrician husband, gently squeezed my hand. We should leave. Right now. I froze. What? He said nothing more, just looked directly into my eyes with a gaze I'd never seen from him. Not fear, but a warning. As if he knew something. But I did what I always did. I ignored Lucas's intuition. Because this was Madison. It was a baby shower. It was a happy occasion. I smiled reassuringly and shook my head. I'm sure you're just tired. You've been on call for 2 shifts straight. We'll be fine. He sighed and let go of my hand. Inside, the house was decorated like a photo shoot studio, walls draped in pale purple silk, lavender flowers everywhere, a mocktail bar, and a pink neon sign that read, "It's a girl." Madison emerged in a light pink maxi dress, her curled hair adorned with a flower crown, looking like she'd stepped out of a maternity chick magazine. Hung you believe it? She smiled, hugging me carefully, tilting away from her belly. Only 8 weeks left, I beamed. You truly glow. Like an angel. But my gaze lingered. There was something unnatural in the way she stroked her belly. Like an act, I turned to Lucas, but he was quietly observing the room, his sharp eyes scrutinizing the truth behind the elaborate decor. The guest list was much larger than I expected. Madison had said it would be an intimate gathering, but there were at least 40 people, former colleagues, neighbors, college friends. I recognized our high school friend group Amber, Jess, and even Josh, who'd confessed his feelings for me in 11th grade. Everyone flocked to the baby's room on the 2nd floor. The nursery reveal, as Madison called it. The room looked straight out of Pinterest. Hand-painted fairy tale forest walls, handcrafted wooden crib, crystal chandelier, hide and wool rug. Everything was suspiciously perfect. My God, Jess whispered. This must have cost tens of thousands of dollars. It's fine, Madison interjected, smiling. Most of it was sponsored by partners working with my organization. Lucas quietly raised his phone and took a photo of a corner of the room. A strange action for someone who never bothered with social media. When we returned downstairs, I began to notice a clearer change in Lucas. He stood apart from the crowd, his eyes fixed on a man near the gift table. Middle-aged, graying hair, glasses, a face unfamiliar to me. Lucas whispered, "That's Dr. Henry Marcus." I frowned. Ooh. He's an OB/GYN at my hospital. But Colette, no, Madison, said she's seeing a private practice, not where I work. Henry only practices at General, not privately. I paused. Are you saying? Lucas gritted his teeth, his voice low. Something isn't right. Very wrong. After a while, Madison's mother, Catherine Rowe, a wealthy and aloof businesswoman, stood up to speak. I once thought the dream of being a grandmother was distant. But today, by the grace of God, we are here, after so many years of waiting in silence. Lucas immediately tightened his grip on my hand. We're leaving. Right now. I was stunned. What's wrong with you? You have to trust me. I'll explain in the car. His gaze at that moment gave me no choice. I apologized to Madison, fabricating a hospital emergency. She was slightly disappointed but quickly nodded. In the car, the spring breeze gently blew through the windows as we left Charleston. I was annoyed. Lucas, I've had enough, explain. He gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. Then he said slowly, Madison isn't pregnant. The atmosphere inside the SUV became thick, silent to the point where I could hear my own heartbeat synchronize with the rotations of the tires on the asphalt. I whipped my head to Lucas, my eyes wide with disbelief. What did you just say? Lucas didn't look at me. He kept his gaze fixed on the long road ahead, his hand still gripping the steering wheel, knuckles white. Madison isn't pregnant, Emily. She's faking it. I let out a laugh, a strained, uncomfortable sound that couldn't hide my confusion and anger. Lucas, do you hear yourself? This is Madison? She's my best friend. I've seen her belly. You saw something that looked like a pregnant belly, Lucas said, his voice as steady as if he were presenting a clinical case. But it's not a real pregnancy. I'm a doctor, Emily. I observed every detail. She shows no signs of a woman 7 months pregnant. So what are you saying? She's stuffing something in her dress to fool everyone. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a high probability she's using a prosthetic bump, a high-quality silicone one, like those used in TV shows or magazine shoots. Lucas paused, as if even he couldn't believe he was saying this. Did you notice? She never let anyone touch her belly, and every interaction was very controlled, very brief. I tried to recall my memories. It was true that every time I hugged Madison, she always turned slightly, as if to avoid direct belly contact. But could that really be the reason? No way. Madison isn't like that, I whispered. She works for a charity. She helps pregnant women in need. Why would she do something like this? Lucas shook his head. I don't know why. But this morning I saw my OB, looking at Madison strangely. Then, I caught Travis, her husband, on the phone in the hallway. And I distinctly heard him say, she's starting to believe it. We need to speed things up. I was stunned. Starting to believe it. What does that mean? I don't know exactly. But I suspect Madison isn't just deceiving others, but perhaps even deceiving herself. Back home, I barely slept all night. Lucas slept peacefully beside me, but my mind raced. I stared at the ceiling, trying to piece together every memory from the past 7 months. Every text, every call. Every time Madison talked about her dream, pregnancy. No morning sickness, no back pain, no fatigue, no private doctor, no ultrasounds. No one had ever gone to the hospital with her. Every time I offered, she politely declined. Oh, Emily, you're busy. Besides, Travis is with me. The next morning, Lucas left for an early shift. I was home alone, with a cold cup of coffee and my phone in hand. I texted Madison. I think I left my shawl at your place yesterday. Can I drop by to pick it up? A minute later, a message arrived. So sorry, I'm at the doctor's in the city. But Mairead is home. She'll open the door for you. Mairead, Madison's younger sister. A kind, direct person who never knew how to lie. If anyone accidentally revealed the truth, it would be her. I immediately got in the car, my heart pounding, my mind filled with images of Madison with her round belly and radiant smile. Could it all be fake? Madison's house was no longer sparkling like the day before. No balloons, no music, no guests. Just a dew-soaked lawn and the morning bird song. Mairead opened the door, her hair in a messy bun, wearing an old college hoodie. Emily, you're early. Your shawl is probably still in the living room. Let me get it. I stepped inside, pretending to look for the shawl, but my eyes scanned everywhere. The remnants of the party were still there. Unwashed plastic cups, gift wrap, purple ribbons and a strangely large box next to the sofa. I casually asked, Madison must be so happy, right? I didn't realize she'd throw such a grand party. Mairead gave a faint smile. She's so particular. Every detail had to be exactly right. She's been living for that party for a month. Even those baby clothes. I haven't seen her open any of them. They're all still in their boxes. Did you ever go to any of her prenatal appointments? Mairead looked puzzled. No. Why do you ask? I tried to stay calm. Just curious. Madison said she usually goes to St. Vincent, but I've never seen any ultrasound photos. Mairead shook her head. I don't know anything, Emily. But once I saw her talking to Travis in the study. She was crying. I heard one sentence. Something like, I can't back out now. Everyone believes it. I have to keep going. I thanked Mairead and left. My mind was a mess. Madison was living a lie. But why? For money? For attention? Or, More frightening, because she genuinely believed she was pregnant. That evening, I told Lucas everything. He just nodded. We need to find out more. If she truly has a psychological issue, she needs help. But if this is a fraud, that's a crime. I shivered. That night I opened my laptop. I couldn't sleep, knowing my heart was screaming for an answer. And because I didn't believe just one conversation with Mairead was enough, I started searching. From old articles on Madison's organization's website to donation records from brands, event photos, Facebook posts. I wanted to find any detail, any discrepancy, any proof that Lucas wasn't paranoid and that I wasn't being betrayed by my best friend. After only 2 hours, I had a dizzying array of facts. 3 months ago, Madison hosted a charity auction for her organization, Mothers United. One of the items was a sponsorship for birthing rooms for single mothers, but in the financial report, there was no expenditure for this item. The entire $12,000 in donations was listed as pending. In a radio interview, Madison shared, "I feel the baby kick every night. A sacred feeling I wish everyone could experience." But there were no records of her regularly attending prenatal appointments at major medical centers in the area, including St. Vincent, which she had mentioned. And finally, the discovery that left me numb: an old blog post by Madison, deleted, but still archived on the Wayback Machine. I lost my first child when I was just 11 weeks pregnant. No one knew. I couldn't tell Travis. I couldn't bear to fail at being a mother. That was 3 years ago. I was speechless. Could everything Madison was doing be the result of unhealed pain? I don't know how long I cried before Lucas returned from his night shift. He silently walked in, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Found something," I nodded. "She had a miscarriage 3 years ago. Didn't tell anyone." Lucas closed his eyes, slowly exhaled. That could lead to a severe psychological disorder, pseudocyesis, or false pregnancy. The body and mind create symptoms. But there are also cases where people stage the entire process for other reasons. Which case do you think Madison is? Lucas looked at me for a long time. I think both. The next morning, I didn't text ahead. I went straight to Madison's house. She opened the door. She looked radiant, too radiant. "Emily." She smiled as if everything was perfect. "I was just about to call you. I have super exciting news. The doctor said the baby girl is developing really well." "Madison," I said, my heart pounding in my chest, "we need to talk. Alone." She paused for a moment, then nodded. We sat at the dining table, where gifts for the baby shower had been piled high just 3 days ago. "I know," I began, "about your miscarriage, about the lack of recent medical records, and about the unused sponsorship funds." Her Madison's face froze. Her lips tightened. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Really?" I placed my phone on the table, played the radio recording. "You then showed her the photo of the old blog post." Finally, I looked her straight in the eye. "I don't want to think you're a fraud, Madison, but I need the truth." Silence. Long. Her gaze shifted from the living room to the window. Then she exhaled, as if a layer of endurance had just shattered. "I just wanted to feel like a mother again, Emily," she whispered. "Just one more time. One more time by deceiving everyone. I couldn't hide my pain." "No one understands?" Madison burst out, her voice beginning to tremble. "They see me as successful, strong, but every night I sit alone, thinking about the baby I couldn't keep." Her voice softened. "Then I received a sponsorship from a baby product company, saying if I could be an influencer during my pregnancy, they would fund my organization. Just a few photos, just one baby shower." "What about Travis?" I asked. "Does he know?" Madison was silent for a moment, then nodded softly. "Yes, but he didn't have a choice. He thought if I went further, if I got more financial support, I would be better. He was afraid I would break down." "And you think that's okay?" "Madison, you lied to all of us. Family, friends, sponsors. Even possibly committing a crime." "No." She jumped up. "I haven't taken the money. I plan to give it back. I just needed a dream. Just an illusion. Do you know what it's like to wake up every day with an empty feeling in your womb? Her voice choked. I bought a prosthetic bump. I practiced how to walk, how to hold my belly. I started to believe it, Emily. I felt it. I felt the baby girl. I didn't know what to say. I just sat there, my heart shattered into pieces. Madison, the friend I thought I knew so well, was living in a world of distorted memories and suffocated emotions. You need help, I said softly. Not pretense, not concealment, but real healing. She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. Will anyone still believe me? I stood up, putting my arm around her shoulder. First, tell the truth. To Travis. To everyone. After that, you don't need a fake belly to be loved, Madison. That evening, Lucas and I went with Madison to see a lawyer, and then a gynecological psychologist. Madison accepted treatment. And before temporarily closing, Mothers United. She returned all the sponsorships, publicly apologized, and announced her withdrawal from social media to recover. She lost many things after that fall. But she kept one thing. The truth. And for someone who had lost herself in a dream called the perfect pregnancy, that was perhaps the only thing enough to start anew. 1 week later, Madison disappeared from social media. No more daily stories with fake baby bump photos. No more motherhood journey videos with fake smiles. Everything vanished as if it had never existed. And me. I wished everything would vanish like that too, because it had just exploded, brutally and uncontrollably. Monday morning, at 6:43 a.m., I received a text from Sierra. Did you see? What the actual? And attached was a link to an article on a local news site. INF of Pirad Pemenswayo DFRID Spirarest. Begijesti Skyle. FTCR. Madison's face was plastered at the top of the article, along with the headline, From Motherhood to Manipulation. I froze. By 8 a.m., the article had been shared thousands of times on Reddit, Twitter, and even a TikTok trend fake bump challenge, where girls would tape pillows to their stomachs and recreate. Madison's baby shower. Malicious, cruel, deadly. When I called Madison, the phone rang with a cannot be reached message. I called Travis next. He answered, his voice hoarse. She hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. She's just lying in her room, won't open the door. I don't know what to do. Emily, don't leave her alone. I'm coming right over. 15 minutes later, I was in front of the house that had once been filled with purple balloons. Now, a reporter's car was parked across the street, a lens poking out from the window. I walked in. Travis met me with a helpless gaze. She won't talk to anyone. Not even me. Let me try. The bedroom was dark, the door ajar. I knocked softly. Madison, it's me, Emily. No answer. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. She sat by the window, her back to me. In her hands was the pink baby shower dress, crumpled. Her hair hung loose, her face as haggard as if she'd lost a month's sleep. I knew you'd come, Madison said, her voice a mere breath. Do you think people will forget? I quietly walked over, sitting beside her. Definitely not, but eventually they'll stop caring. It's just, you have to survive until that day. Madison turned to look at me. Her eyes were swollen and red. Travis said, he might lose his job over this. Sponsors are suing. I took her hand. Then you have to be strong. Face it. And apologize sincerely. Madison shook her head. You don't understand. Social media was my world. Everything, my reputation, my friends, my work, was tied to that belly. Now it's gone. I looked deep into her eyes. You haven't lost everything. You still have yourself, if you're willing to accept the truth. 3 days later, Madison held a small press conference. No grand stage. Just a live stream from her living room, with Travis beside her. She sat before the camera, her hands trembling. Hello everyone. I'm Madison Keller. The person you once believed was 7 months pregnant. Her voice choked. But the truth is, I was never pregnant. Travis squeezed her hand as a flood of comments erupted beneath the video. Crazy woman! You exploited people's emotions. Give back the money! Delete your account, you snake, she continued. I had a miscarriage 3 years ago, and I never recovered. When I received attention, sympathy, I started to believe I deserved it. I deceived. I apologize. Not just for faking a pregnancy, but for betraying all of your trust. Madison left the camera with tears streaming down her face. The video went viral. Some people mocked her, but others, surprisingly, showed empathy. A mother who had experienced pseudocyesis wrote, "I understand her. The loss is so immense it makes people do irrational things. I hope she gets the proper therapy." But then, the scandal didn't stop. A major newspaper published a series of old photos showing Madison had even staged a fake ultrasound with images taken from the internet. They called it fake motherhood syndrome. The sponsors announced they were withdrawing all funding and demanding Madison repay 18,000. Some old friends blocked her number, unfriended her. Some even made reaction videos criticizing her to gain views. I became one of the few people left by Madison's side. But that also implicated me. At work, I received an anonymous email accusing me of complicity for knowing the truth but not reporting it. On a school forum, a student posted asking about the ethical value of a counselor named Emily Geller. Everything was flowing backward. Lucas hugged me as I cried into his shoulder. "I don't blame you," he said. "But you also have to think about yourself." I nodded. But when I looked at Madison, sitting alone in therapy, her hands trembling as she wrote in her journal, I knew I couldn't turn my back. Because some people, when shattered, don't need judgment. They need someone to hold the pieces. 2 months later, spring turned to summer. But no blooming flowers were strong enough to hide what had withered within me. The counseling center, where I worked, officially opened a professional ethics investigation into me for failing to report a client's behavior showing serious psychological instability. Even though Madison was my best friend, that didn't exempt me from responsibility. And Madison, she was preparing for court. 3 lawsuits had been filed, one from the main sponsor, financial fraud through misrepresentation, one from a non-profit organization, defamation and damage to the reputation of the pregnant community. And worst of all, from a woman who had truly miscarried, who had donated over $2,000 to Madison, now demanding emotional damages. She was due in court next month. I didn't abandon Madison, but I couldn't appear publicly beside her anymore. The center asked me to temporarily maintain distance from any cases with personal relationship conflicts. She understood. "You need to keep your career," Madison said over the phone, her voice somber. "I've already ruined enough." "You haven't ruined it," I said. "It's just not fixed yet." At the internal hearing, I had to sit before 3 members of the ethics committee, answering every question. When did you know Madison wasn't really pregnant? Why didn't you report it? Were you the one who helped her stage the baby shower? Did you have a conflict of interest as a counselor and also a close friend? Each question felt like a dull knife twisting in my gut. I answered honestly. I didn't know. I only suspected. And when I knew, I advised her to confess. She did, though it was too late. One member stared at me. "Do you believe you deserve to continue practicing?" I swallowed my tears. "I'm not sure. But if anyone needs support right now, it's not me, it's her." Meanwhile, Madison began official psychological treatment. Her doctor, Dr. Miranda Cho, a specialist in phantom pregnancy disorders, said Madison was showing signs of recovery. She's starting to differentiate between desire and reality. But the hardest part is still ahead. What is that? Forgiving herself. One night, Travis called me. "I'm leaving." "Emily?" I was stunned. "What are you saying?" "I love her. But after everything, I can't trust anymore." "I'm sorry." I tried. I didn't blame him. How could I? The next day, Madison knocked on my door. She stood there, holding an envelope. "Travis left," she said. "He left this, didn't read it. Just said, for Emily." I opened the envelope after she left. Inside was a short letter from Travis Emily. If you're reading this letter, I've probably let go. But I want you to know, no one else but you kept Madison alive. Not me, not the doctors. It was you. Don't give up on her. But don't give up on yourself either. Travis Court Day. Madison wore a simple black dress, no makeup, no microphone, no manipulative lawyer. She confessed to all her actions. The court pronounced judgment. 30 days of voluntary rehabilitation at a mental health treatment center. Repay 18,000 within 18 months. Prohibited from online financial activities under the guise of pregnant mother or family. For 5 years after the hearing, I waited for her outside. She walked out, her face no longer proud, but something more beautiful acceptance. I don't deserve to be a mother, she said. You don't deserve to be abandoned, I replied. And if you've survived until today, it means you still have a chance. She smiled faintly, for the first time in weeks. Do you think I can start over? I took her hand. No, I think you'll start over, and do even better than before. 6 months later, I was retained as a counselor after the review. A meeting announced, Ms. Geller did not violate ethics, but needs clear professional boundaries with clients. I accepted that, with gratitude. Madison started a new blog, not about motherhood, but about mental health after loss. Blog name, Still Here. In her first post, she wrote, I once faked a pregnancy. I once thought I had nothing left to lose. But there's one thing I never lost a second chance. And I will live worthy of it. Every single day. The story didn't end perfectly, but it was real. Madison and I still kept in touch. No longer high school best friends, but two women who had been broken, but learned to mend themselves together.